Hey guys, Speed here, and I'm back with another video, and today we're going to be covering the most underrated items of 7.21b. These are items that I feel like could be purchased a lot more in pubs, and have a ton of utility that are just underexploited for whatever reason. I think a lot of it comes down to what the pros buy, but a lot of these items are starting to be picked up by the pros, so I want to mention them and talk about their value so that you can implement these items into your pubs and start winning today. Before we jump into the video, I want to let you guys know that you can check out guides just like this one made by top tier pros over at gameleap.com. We have thousands of guides that can teach you the game of Dota 2 in depth and help you gain MMR much quicker than you usually would. Now let's jump into it. So at number 5 on the list, I want to put Atos. Now, Rod of Atos has been picked up on Leshrac recently in the pro scene by Zai. S4 has also recently done it, and for this, it gives me more of a reason to put this on the list. I wasn't so sure about this item. I was considering replacing it with Solar Crest, which I think is another great item, and is more of an honorable mention at this point. But I want to talk about the stats and the potential that Rod of Atos gives you, especially in pubs. Now, what is a common feature of team comps in pubs? And that is a lack of disables. Often, even if you have disables, your teammates are not willing to coordinate to control silver heroes. And what Rod of Atos does is it gives you a very long range, active, 1150 range, that is super far, to control heroes and cancel TPs. If you're a hero that has the inability to cancel TPs or lock down heroes such as Anti-Mage, Storm Spirit, Quap, any of those, then Rod of Atos is a great addition to your team comp. As well, it gives you 20 intelligence, 12 strength, and 12 agility. This is one of the best stat items in the game for overall stats. Now, of course, every hero doesn't really need all of these weird stats, but in my opinion, what's more important is the ability to root an enemy for 2 seconds. And in general, I think this is just a great pub item that is being undervalued, and if you're playing a hero such as Lesh, or any hero that you think has a low cast range and inability to close the gap, Atos is your item. At number 4, we have Medallion. Now, Medallion is an item that I really don't understand why more people are buying. It was quite popular for this weird period in time in Dota. I actually can't remember the specific patch, but what's important to note is that the item has one of the best actives in the game. I don't think people really understand how much 7 armor is. It's actually insane how much this is, and to put it in perspective, Slaughter's Corrosive Haze, his ultimate, reduces armor by 10 at level 1. 10. Medallion reduces by 7. That means you can essentially have a character's ultimate, almost their ultimate, for 1,000 gold. 1,000 gold. Now, the build up for the item is also great, right? You can go to Blightstone, a Sage's Mask, you get mana regeneration, you get armor if you just want to keep it at that. I really think the item has a ton of flexibility. In addition, I didn't even remember to mention that it helps you farm faster. You can clear neutral camps much faster because you can amp the large creep and deal a ton more damage. Now, I'm not exactly sure on what the percentage is for the increase, but overall, if I had to guess, it's around 20% damage increase. And lastly, I just want to mention, just because I really think this item should be purchased more, that it can be used on Roshan. Do you see how much utility is in this item? It can be used on heroes, you can keep the armor, mana regeneration, armor, farming neutrals, farming Roshan, tanking creeps for towers. I mean, the utility on this item is just mind-blowing, and for that, I put it at the number 4 role. Next up at the number 3 slot, we have Necromantic 1. Now I want to make it clear that I'm talking about Necromantic 1 and not 2 or 3, because 2 or 3 are actually quite bad in my opinion. The upgrades are almost never worth it. What they provide is just not value on the majority of heroes in Dota besides Beastmaster and Lycan. So I'm going to be recommending Necromantic 1 on a lot more heroes. And the reason is, this item was actually quite popular for a while. A lot of cores were buying Necromantic 1 to amp their farming efficiency. A lot of them were cooldown reduction cores, such as Arc Warden or Dazzle, but the value I want to propose for the item is buying it on supports. Now, a lot of pub supports, even 5 players, are extremely greedy, and a lot of the time, they'll buy Midas. And for this, I want to say that Necromanicon, in my opinion, for position 5 supports, is a better Midas. Now, this is going to be kind of a hard topic for me to debate, right, because Midas is such a good item right now. There's really no denying that. However, the problem in pubs and a lot of low-level pubs is that people do not push out the lanes and they do not cut waves. Now, I can't go into depth about explaining why this is important. However, what is to note is that Necromantic 1 safely shoves out lanes, and very quickly. So if you can do this, you're preventing your team from getting mad because you're not buying a Midas, right? Your teammates will just naturally see you not buy a Midas, and they will see you get a Necro 1, which looks like a more intelligent item, right? You're reading a book, you're probably a pretty smart guy, and for this, I'm putting it at the number 3 role because it can amber farming efficiency, avoid you from constantly purchasing Midas, and give you an ability to shove lanes at a much quicker pace. Now at the number 2 role, we have an item that I wasn't actually sure if I wanted to put on this list. And the reason for that is the item is actually becoming quite popular, so I don't think it's underrated per se. However, I don't think enough players are buying it yet, and I don't think a lot of players know how good this item truly is, especially if you're not following the professional scene. So I want to bring it up in this video, and this item is Drum of Endurance, and drums have been buffed to the point where I think they are one of the best farming items in Dota, for probably one of the cheapest costs for a good stat item. Now let's talk about what it does. So Drums of Endurance is only 1,525 gold. Its stats are quite good: 6 intelligence, 6 strength, 6 agility, and 1.5 mana regeneration. This is great for the early game. But what is most important is the active endurance. It gives 35 attack speed. That is a ton of attack speed. That is an absurd amount of attack speed. 35. That's almost as much as Midas, and Midas is a broken item. And it gives you 13% movement speed, which is incredible. With boots, you're going to be a complete speed demon, running around, chasing everyone down with 35 attack speed. And if you buy Midas with it because you're a psychopath who only follows meta trends, you're going to have 75 attack speed. What a beast item combination. Midas Drum, guys. Try it out in your pubs, go ruin some games, and enjoy yourself. And finally, at the number 1 role, the best item in Dota 2. It's actually definitely not the best item in Dota 2. The best item in Dota 2 is Midas, as we've talked about. But the item I'm putting at number 1 for most underrated item is Ghost Scepter. Now, I think Drums is a better item than Ghost Scepter. However, I was debating on whether or not to put Drums on this list at all, so I'm putting Ghost Scepter at number 1, because I think Ghost Scepter is actually probably one of the better items in Dota, and I personally think it has a lot more value than people give it, even on cores. Now, this might sound crazy, but I've seen a lot of games where core players will just get Omni Slash down, or bursted by a PA, or a Sven, or a Terrorblade, and lack the inability to disengage. And this ability to disengage can often be the 2 or 3 seconds in which you need in a fight to reset and then wait out a BKB, or wait out a duration, or an Omni Slash. And for that, I really just don't understand why some people don't consider this as an item that you can buy in specific games to kite out physical damage carries. Now, of course, I want to recommend it also as a support item, right? It is a cheap item, and the reason I would be hesitant to buy it on a support, and I actually think it's underrated more as a core item rather than a support item, is because supports can often buy Glimmer Capes or Force Staffs, which can be used on allies and is often much more valuable. However, there are some specific games when you're against maybe a Storm Spirit, or a Terrorblade with Blink Dagger, or a Sven with Blink Dagger, or a PA who's going to Blink Strike you, in which this can be a great item, because if they're carrying dust, or their teammates are carrying dust or a gem, your Glimmer Cape and Force Staff might not do that much. And for this, I really think that if you're in a pub, and you really can't find the solution, even as a core, to deal with a BKB carry, or a Juggernaut, or a Slark, in which during their ult duration, you were getting chopped down, consider Ghost Scepter. It is only 1,500 gold, it gives good stats, and Ethereal Blade for a lot of agility carries is actually one of the best items in the late game in terms of DPS. So please consider this item. I really think it's underrated. I don't expect to see it become popular, only because I think it's quite niche, but definitely consider this item in your pubs, as well as the other 5 I've mentioned on this list. So I'm going to leave you guys on that note. If you enjoyed, please do like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow. I've been having a great time making these guides for you guys and just talking about Dota in general. And now we're going to be posting daily as well. You can call me out on it if we do miss a day, but I'm excited to be announcing this and just talking about it in general because I want to make this channel grow and just spread knowledge with you guys in the future.